Get ready for that big test with Study.com. Study.com offers learning materials and test prep, even LSAT study prep guides for all of my legal nerds listening. Unfortunately, there aren't any wine study guides, and believe me, I did check. Listeners can get 30% off their first 3 months of any subscription level using the promo code CrimeOverWine. Again, that's promo code CrimeOverWine, no spaces, for 30% off your first 3 months at Study.com. Learn faster, stay motivated, study smarter with our sponsor, Study.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 44th episode of Crime Over Wine, the only podcast with head-scratching true crime stories that are just better over a bottle of wine. I'm your host, Liam Collins, and y'all, I am so excited. I can't even begin to it. I can't hide it. I just can't. About my guest co-host this week. You know them, you love them. They are the ladies of Like Mother, Like Murder, Rachel Holloway and Heather Northcraft. Hello, ladies. I'm so excited to have you both back.
So excited to be back on Crime Over Wine.
Yes.
Excited to talk about some crime and drink that wine.
You came to the right place, Heather. You came to the right place. So Rachel and Heather were last in the podcast way back in episode 12 where we covered the Darlie Routier case. You can hear part 1 on this podcast and part 2 on their podcast, Like Mother, Like Murder. And, back then they were known as the Wine Time Ladies, but you have since totally rebranded, and we love a good rebrand, over to Like Mother, Like Murder. And so I want to know what inspired that whole thing while I open the bottle of wine that we're going to be drinking. So what's the vibes here?
Okay, so let me see if I can multitask and open my bottle while we also tell you a little bit about our rebrand. So we got to our year anniversary of our podcast, Wine Time.
We did.
And we just were reflecting on the year and reflecting on what the podcast meant to us. And I think, that was a lovely sound.
That was
a good pop.
Beautiful.
That was really good pop.
Thank
really
goodness you had a good one. And we just decided, let's kind of go towards something that leans a little bit more towards what we feel that podcast is really about. So we changed our name from Wine Time to Like Mother, Like Murder. And I think it kind of just represents that we are spending more time on the crime.
Yes.
But we're not giving up our motherly roots. We're definitely still trying to bring, and we are still a mom cast in every sense of the word. It's just that now we do a little more crime heavy things.
Well, let's talk about the wine we're drinking this week because everyone knows that's my favorite part of the podcast. This week we are drinking Broadside's Cabernet Sauvignon. It opens with a perfumed bouquet teasing hints of violets, black cherry, and cedar, and flavors of blackberry, hints of cola, and subtle notes of vanilla. And cola, so I get like soda, like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, that kind of thing from that. I'm not a soda guy at all. I really I'll drink a Sprite every once in a while and a ginger ale, and that's pretty much the extent of my soda loving. So I'm really curious to see if I'm gonna like this one for that reason.
Yeah, with the cola, we have to see how strong it is.
Right, how strong it is.
Right.
I was gonna say, soda wise, unless it's used as a mixer for a cocktail or a drink, I'm not drinking. What is soda?
We all know where our priorities lie. We're not shy about that. Let's be real.
We are straight up.
Right. Yeah. We're very real. Very, very real. I do taste the cola though. I do pretty strongly taste the cola for sure. Violets I kind of glossed over that. What does a violet even taste like?
I don't, in my head I'm thinking lavender, but that's not the same thing. And
No.
I definitely am not picking that up.
Definitely not.
The blackberry for sure.
A darker lavender. What is a darker lavender?
Yeah, I'm picturing those red fruits, like a blackberry, a raspberry kind of flavor ish. But why won't you just say that? That's interesting.
The wine smells good. I like smelling wine.
That's probably my favorite part of smelling of wine, if we're being honest, is that first initial flavor, is that first initial sniff, because then you can kind of really get a feel for what we're going for here.
Yes.
So.
Yes. You guys, this is good. Let's cheers. I want to cheers.
Cheers. We didn't do that yet. Cheers. So glad to have you both on, and for like a really special reason too, right? Because we're doing something like a little different this week, and I'm so excited because this was Rachel's idea, and so I'm so excited that we're executing on this. Right. So this week, like I said, we're doing something a little bit, offbeat, a little bit different. It is the holidays, right? This week, this episode is going to be dropping the day before Thanksgiving. And so all three of us need a little bit of time to catch our breath, right? Podcasting is a lot of work. And so this week, I am going to be handing over the mic to Rachel and Heather, and they are going to share a story with you all. They're going to talk about a case that they've already covered on their podcast, and so I'm just going to pass it over to the both of you. I know nothing about this case, and I like it that way, so the floor is yours.
I'm so excited for it too, because as a fan of not only you as a person, as like your podcast, I'm so excited to be here again. So this opportunity is amazing, and we're just really happy to be here and to tell this story with some wine.
Definitely.
Yes, with some wine. And I'm like settling in because I have my blanket, and so I'm just like, I'm chilling back here, y'all. Like I'll pop in whenever y'all want me to, but like
you look cozy.
So.
You get cozy.
No. So now that our glasses are full, let's go ahead and get into the case. So this is the case of Cari Farver. So before we do our dive into everything, I want to introduce some of the main players in the case because everything takes off rather quickly, and I just want to make sure we have set the scene on who our people are. So we have Cari Farver. Okay, she is a single mom. She has a son named Max who's a teenager. And she is kind of a badass. She's a computer programmer, which is not something, a lot of women, do. So, and then we have Dave Krupa, who he is actually recently split from his longtime baby mama, who he had 2 kids with. Okay. We have Amy Flora, who is Dave Krupa's baby mama. And then we have Liz Golyar, who is another single mother who recently met Dave on an online dating site, okay? So now that we have set up who is in the story, let's further set the scene of this case. So it's 2012, okay? And Dave, like I said, recently split from Amy, his baby mama. He decides to try online dating. Hey, it's 2012. I mean, you kind of got to, right? It's a major option out there. And he meets Liz Golyar. Okay, so they start seeing each other. And from the very beginning, Dave lets her know, hey, look, I'm not looking for anything serious. I just got out of a major relationship. I'm still, dealing with baby mama drama. I just, nothing serious. And Liz, single mother herself, is like, okay, for sure. I get it. I can appreciate that. Okay. Let's fast forward a few months later. Dave and Liz are still casually seeing each other, and Dave meets Cari Farver, okay? And again, when they start their relationship, Dave is like, hey, just FYI, we're keeping it cash, okay? I'm not looking for anything serious or exclusive, which we can assume because he's also still saying Liz, okay? And similar to Liz, Cari is like, sure, single mom myself. Sounds good. Let's keep it cash. Now, quick question for the audience here. I guess you will have to work a little bit, Liam. Casual dating, yes, no? Is this something that, is casual dating, like, I speak from very little experience. I mean, I had a little bit of casual dating experience in college, but not a lot. So, like, how is casual dating? Is that, like, actually a thing?
Casual dating's, for me, I mean, just speaking minimally, but just in the world, yes, it's fine. As long as you communicate, and yes, as long as you are very open with what you are doing, what you are expecting, what your needs are, then 100%. 100% is like my view. Sorry, Liam. I was like, boom. Go ahead.
No, well, so Dave is clearly getting around, right? I think that's like the implication here. Well, and I like dating is like a strong word, I think, from what my impression here is, right? Like, I am assuming that Dave is using Liz and Cari for specific.
Oh, he's hooking
purposes.
up. Yeah, that's what my thought process is as well. He's hooking up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I am right there with Rachel. As long as Liz and Cari are like, sure, like, okay, as long as Dave is saying, like, you know, yeah, there's Liz, yeah, there's Cari, like, Cari knows about Liz knows about Cari, like, I think we're fine here. Like, nothing wrong with that.
Communication, like we said. Important. Okay. So, one day, Cari is actually going to spend the night at Dave's, and when she is there, she starts leaving into the hallway, and she runs the hall. And this is one thing I wasn't able to confirm. Was this inside of the apartment or outside of the apartment? I'm hoping it was the hallway outside of the apartment. But she runs into Liz, who is heading to Dave's to pick up some of her stuff. From everything I can find, they didn't actually interact or anything. It was just a quick thing, almost passing by in the hall type situation. But this brief interaction would be the start of a years-long, what I like to call an entanglement.
I don't know why instantly I was like, wait, how would they even know what the other one looks like? As if, like, 2012 was so long ago that there wasn't social media. People didn't have top 8s, whatever it is on MySpace, you know? So
let's
it's like,
remind ourselves, 2012. So, like, the idea that, like I am not going to lie, when I was in college, around 2012, I definitely had a friend who could see a girl one time, know, you know, their first name or at least one of the mutual friends and track her down on her Facebook.
I'm like getting the vibe though here that like Liz and Cari like don't know about each other. Is that fair?
I kind of get the vibe that while Dave did say to both women, hey, let's keep it casual, maybe he didn't specifically say, and it's like, you know, I'm dating and seeing and hooking up with other women.
Sure.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially to have such a close, like, proximity in time and space between these two women, you have to assume, like, they don't know, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
So, we are now at November 2012. Cari and Dave have been casually seeing each other for a few weeks now, and Cari is actually going to spend a few nights at Dave's apartment because his place is a lot closer to her office where she works, and she has a big project, so it's easier for her to get to the office quicker if she just stays at Dave's. So the morning of November 13th, 2012, Cari leaves Dave's apartment for work. A few hours after she leaves, Dave gets a text from her saying that she wants to move in with him.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's kind of like, this is weird because we agreed to keep it like super cash. So he's like, no. And she goes off. She starts texting him saying, I hate you. I'm seeing someone else. Blah, blah, blah. And she's not happy.
Don't love this for Cari.
Yeah, and this message is just the beginning of, as I kind of alluded to before, hundreds and hundreds of crazy messages, text messages, email messages, Facebook messages that go on for like 2 to 3 years. And these weird text messages and emails just start to roll in and do not stop. Okay? And Dave at this point is thinking, well, hey, dang, maybe I dodged a bullet not getting too involved with this one.
Oh, Dave definitely dodged a bullet if you're texting this man for 2 to 3 years.
Yes. Yeah. That's a long time. I mean, that's stalker. That's stalker status.
It is a whole situation. Like, I can't even deal with someone texting me like once in a day. So the fact that you want to continuously do it for that long, oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It seems like a lot because she was not just texting him. She was emailing him. He was getting messages from her Facebook accounts. It was all kinds of emails.
Was he like responding and saying like, leave me alone?
For a while he did. But when you're so inundated, he kind of had to, stop at a certain point.
I would imagine around, maybe a year or so. You're like, maybe I should just not
right?
making this worse on myself.
You're making this way worse.
Man. So wait, so is Dave receiving the messages? Like, has anyone else heard from from Cari at this point, or is it just Dave?
Good question. So Cari's mom and her 15-year-old son also start getting text messages from Cari saying, I moved out of state for a job. I'm going to make plans to come get Max. And they're like, what? And her mom tries calling her, but she never actually picks up the phone. And so they are very confused. They're like, this is not in her character, okay? And they have no idea what's going on. But these messages, it's just, they keep coming in. And in some of the ones that are being sent to Dave, it's really specific and really, like I said, stalker status. Like, these messages sometimes say things like, I can see you. You're, walking around your living room. You're doing this. You're wearing this shirt or that hat. And yeah, scary. And some of them are very threatening, saying, I hate you so much. I want to drive a knife into your heart. So these are not just like,
I miss you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, exactly. These are getting really bad.
Well, and that's what I was like picturing in my brain. It was like, oh my gosh, I can't live without you. Like that kind of thing. Not, oh, I want to murder you with a knife. Like, not what I was picturing at all.
I know. So they get pretty bad. Okay. And some of the messages also start mentioning Liz, the other woman, right, that Dave had been casually seeing, calling her a whore and saying you shouldn't be with her, and then also threatening to kidnap Liz. Okay. So after these messages, Dave is getting these messages, Cari's mom is getting these messages, Cari's son is getting these messages, Liz and Amy, Dave's baby mama, also start receiving messages from Cari.
That is insane. Like, you're doing too much. I'm sorry. Like, whatever the shit is happening, you're doing too much. Like, you need to stop.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're consistently texting, and they're not like nice. Like, hey, what are you doing? It's not like, right? These have. I mean, I would hope that like it would take some thought to tell someone, I want to drive a knife through your heart. And like, this is happening to not just one person. Like, there are several people receiving text messages at this point, right?
Well, how did Cari even get Liz and Amy's phone number?
Great question. At this point, nobody knows.
Oh my god.
They're not sure how they have the number. The other thing is, sometimes it will come from different numbers. Sometimes it will come from different emails. Different but they're all related back to Cari.
What the fuck?
So like the emails will be like some version of Cari's name. Like it's totally crazy stalker behavior.
Oh man.
And
like that.
It's not just focused on, I mean, it is obviously focused on Dave, but he's not the only one getting messaged, right? It's impacting all of the people
everyone in
around
his circle.
him.
Yeah, man, that's
a lot.
Ooh.
So during the time of these messages, Cari also starts missing some family events, like birthdays, including her son's birthday, weddings, and her dad's funeral. Okay. And even though she had previously told her mom and her son that she was making plans to, quote unquote, pick him up, She never showed. She never showed up. So her family really start to believe that something is wrong because it is very unlike Cari. And the family goes to the authorities and they report the situation. But when the authorities actually try to contact Cari, they get replies back from her saying, "I'm fine, leave me alone." Okay? And then digging into her background a little more, they find out that she was previously diagnosed with bipolar disorder, which makes the cops think they don't need to pay attention to the case.
Yeah, I'm like, they think some people do just want to leave. Some people do just want to up and, leave their life.
And even though she has this diagnosis, her mom was saying, like, I mean, yes, she's lived with this diagnosis, but this is still not within Cari's character.
And moms know best.
Of course.
Just saying.
Yeah,
yes,
facts on that. Well, and I also, because we talk about this so much on Crime Over Wine, right, about like people's normal behaviors and like the patterns that people follow, and like you're like you said, moms know best, but like it's really true that like if you're like the people who are closest to you are saying that this is not how you would act around this thing, like you would not miss your son's birthday, you would not miss weddings, you would not miss your dad's funeral of all things,
right?
Like that should be a massive red flag to somebody, right? Like I have no idea where this is going. I'm like hooked, but like I am just like, it just always blows my mind when like you have like the people absolutely closest to somebody like saying to police like, hello, like this is like there's something wrong here, and they're just like, meh, like she has bipolar disorder, like whatever.
I know, it drives me insane because I mean, Lord knows that, if you have a diagnosis that, the whole, I mean, the one of the underlying, factors of a diagnosis is that it impacts your day-to-day life, but it does not define who you are.
Right.
Okay. And it is always so frustrating to me whenever I hear about a case where police did not do their due diligence, did not look at the case seriously because they found out some kind of diagnosis and they just assumed, that person's crazy, so I don't need to pay attention.
The first thing that it makes me think of, like with what we're talking about though, is one of those diagnoses is going to not... There's no rationality, right? But it's the fact that the other one is going to come back for those things. Yes, you will have an episode. Yes, you will have a moment. Yes, you will have a struggle, whatever it is. And maybe you need that time. Maybe you need space. You need to run away. You need to have that. But a birthday, a funeral, you're not going to miss those things.
Right.
Yeah.
With that.
Right.
So
there's
a difference.
Right. Sure is.
Taking a breath and moving on from the authorities not paying attention to what they need to be paying attention to. People are still receiving these messages from Cari, but then they start to realize no one, while they may be talking to her, no one has actually seen her physically. Okay. And so despite Cari's mom filing that missing person saying, look, no one has actually seen her, nothing is happening. There's no investigation happening. And the only thing that they have are these messages. Okay. And at one point, like I said, they're not just text messages, they're emails, they're Facebook messages. So at one point, Cari's son actually messages her on Facebook, and someone replies to Cari, from the Facebook. But Max was skeptical. He was like, I don't know about this. So he asks 3 personal questions that only Cari would know to prove that it was her. And he didn't receive a single response.
Crime Over Wine is sponsored by BetterHelp. As someone who's used therapy for years, I know that finding a therapist can sometimes be a stress on its own, juggling your full-time job, your family, your friends, your podcast, and trying to find the right therapist on top of that can almost feel impossible. That's where BetterHelp comes in. BetterHelp matches you with a therapist that works for you on your terms. It's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you to one of 33,000 licensed professional therapists in as little as a few days. And because finding a new therapist is a lot like finding a new bottle of wine, if you don't jive with your therapist, you can easily switch to a new one at no additional cost. You can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp by going to betterhelp.com/crimeoverwine. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/crimeoverwine for 10% off your first month. Join over 4 million people who decided to get help and get happy with BetterHelp.
Hello, Crime Over Wine listeners. I am Rachel.
And I'm Heather.
We are the hosts of Like Mother, Like Murder.
We bring you the good, the badass, and the crime.
Each week, we bring you stories from missing and murdered
to survivors and women who empower you.
And of course, some mom talk sprinkled in.
Check us out wherever you get your podcasts at Like Mother, Like Murder.
And give us a follow on social media so that we can say hi.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, love you, bye.
Okay, ladies, how is your wine tasting? I've been back here like sipping away, so I feel like maybe I should start off this time because I feel like I probably have had more opportunities to sip and stuff. I am really, so y'all know, like, listen, Rachel and I were right here, right? Like, we love Bulls Reds here, and especially Cabernets, and so I am really enjoying the boldness and the redness of this wine.
Nice.
When you first brought it up, the first thing I was going to say is, I was just wondering how far your wine has gone down. Like, how empty is your bottle?
We are almost done with the first glass. I'm actually okay. Well, on that note, okay, let's just pour another glass because why not? Because Rachel's going to call me out.
Do it.
We'll make that a little bit taller just for Rachel.
Thank you.
Well, I have to say, even though I am not, I think my palate is, changing and maturing. So I have been getting way more into the reds. I'm still not at the point where I'm like, Merlot, hit it up. Or what's the one my husband really likes? It's like the deepest, darkest, like I'm like, no, I can't do it. Like a Tempranillo. Whoa, that's just a bit much for me.
Yeah.
But I have to say, what it makes me think of, because if I'm remembering right, the last time we were on, we had a blackberry wine, right? It was a wine with like blackberries because I remember spilling it all over my floor and having my husband help me come clean it up in the middle of the recording. So I'm loving this because I feel like
I do remember that. That did not make the cut of the episode, y'all, but that did happen. And you're getting some real behind the scenes stuff.
For sure. But I'm getting those blackberries, and it's making me like, just like, like we said, like you were saying, the experience, it's making me reminisce, and I'm very much enjoying myself.
Right.
I love that.
All right, well, let's get back to the story. We were just talking about this during the break. I am like hooked on this case. I can't wait to see what happens next. So we need to let's roll. I never thought I'd say this. Enough wine talk. Like, let's get back to the crime. So,
well, the good thing is that as I talk, you can drink more wine. That is
good point. The perks.
So, things started happening November of 2012. So here we are in January of 2013, several months into Cari's messages. Something new happens.
So I have a question. So where are we in relation to, because the Cari's messages were, like, I thought were happening for like a year or two, right?
Not at this point. So total is what she was saying.
Oh, okay,
okay. It does go for a little while.
Okay, cool.
Dave reports that he sees Cari's car parked at his apartment complex. Police search it, but don't find anything except a fingerprint that they don't have a match for. That just blows my mind in itself.
Yeah.
Like, how is her car there? How long has it been there? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, questions galore.
I'm tripping. For several months after this, there are no other breaks in the case. Only the messages continue, and Dave and Liz have actually started, at this point, with everything going on, they have started to kind of rekindle their relationship. Because they were bonded over getting the weird text from Cari, apparently it used to happen to where they would be hanging out. They'd both be sitting there hanging out, eating dinner, watching TV, doing their thing. And they would both start getting these crazy texts and emails from Cari.
What?
Yeah.
Like, were they connected at all? Do y'all know? Like, were they like, was it clear that she like knew that they were together?
Sometimes, yes. Yep.
That's spooky. Spooky.
Spooky and stalkery and super like shivers. Yes, for sure.
That.
And the fact that that's something that like rekindled that and brought them closer because of everything that was going on.
Right.
And then to have to sit there through that and receive things while you're together. No, thank you.
Right.
I would lose my shit, let me tell you. August of 2013. 9 months after anyone has last seen Cari in person.
What?
Liz's house. 9 months. 9 months after she was last seen. Liz, her house was set on fire. And Dave gets another text from Cari saying, I am not lying. I set that nasty whore's house on fire. I hope the whore and her kids die in it.
What the hell? I was not expecting any of this, y'all.
No, it is wild. So, straight up, house on fire. So, there is no other evidence related to the fire. And on it goes until 2015. That is a long ass time. So, 2 to 3 years later, Dave changes his number and moves.
Wait, okay, so wait. So what led to him moving? Like, I don't like that. That's what I don't fully understand that.
He from what I understand, he literally was just like, okay, I'm done. And he decides there's nothing else keeping him there.
After all the messages,
he decides
and
to
all
finally,
that.
after all the messages, after all of the drama, he's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and change my number and I'm going to move. Now, I understand maybe not being in the position to move right away when this kind of shit is happening, but changing a number you can do like in 10 minutes online. Like it's like he easily could have done that, right?
Yeah, go to the Verizon
but
store.
I mean, exactly. I mean, who knows why he took like 2-3 years to do it?
Yeah.
But he did. Yeah.
I almost wonder though, because like here, like because I get this vibe from Dave, right? Like I like almost wonder if there was like a little part of him that liked it. Honestly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not to like victim blame me here at all, but like they're like guys like Dave, I feel like almost kind of are like turned on by like a woman who like by like all the attention, all like the,
because you know what he gets to do now, is he gets to go to a bar and say he gets to talk to his buddies and he gets to say, guess what, man, I was seeing this girl a couple of years ago, we only hung out a few times and that girl's obsessed with me, look at these messages she sends me nonstop every day, all day. I can totally see that being a thing. And also the fact that it kind of bonded him and Liz, which I mean, no offense to anyone that this is your situation, but we have to remember that trauma bonds are not always the best.
True.
And, if he is like trying to continue his relationship with Liz, it's something where he's like, well, this is what bonds us. Right. So I don't want to like fully let that go.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, how'd you all meet? Oh, well, my ex-girlfriend set her house on fire. Like, not a good start.
One's house on fire.
Yeah. Right.
For real.
So the way that my brain works, and I think it's really funny because, Liam talked about this at the beginning of the episode. We did Darlie, and one of the things that we did during Darlie was we kind of like argued both sides. And that's what I like to do the most is argue both sides. So you guys talk about it in that sense, but I talk about it is in the sense of like, what if he was a people pleaser? What if he was that person that truly was like that? Maybe that's why he never told the other person, and he only left it as, you know, I'm just casually dating instead of saying, like, I'm seeing so-and-so because he didn't want to, like, hurt feelings or he didn't want to step on toes.
Yeah.
And then later when this is happening, he sees her hurt. So he's trying to console her. Like, he's trying to be there for her. And then he's also trying to, like, experience all this. So that's where my brain goes of, like, what if it was this kind of situation as well?
I see that. And I can also see, like, because she has the messages from Cari have been threatening.
Right.
So what if part of him is also saying, like, I need to kind of keep this going so that the threats don't turn like, you know, really bad, right? I mean, she already set somebody's house on fire. Like, who knows what else she could do?
Right. And that was where my brain went too, of like, I wonder how much like Dave is encouraging or like, you know, complying almost a little bit.
Right.
Like, you know, with this to a certain extent, like I would imagine there's a little bit of that going on too. For sure. Right. For sure. But so we do have like a whole ass fire going on here, and so like we have the whole like stalking case, we have the whole like arson case. Like I need to know like where is like what are police doing, where's this investigation stand, because there has to be like a lot going on at this point compared to what we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, right?
Yeah, it does seem like in the beginning there wasn't much. I don't want to say there was nothing, but it doesn't seem like much was going on.
Right.
So after all of this time now, like this is when investigators actually start digging into the case. Thank God. I mean, how many years have to go by before you apply yourself? There's 2 detectives, and what they do is one works the case as if she's alive, and one works as if she isn't alive. I think that's genius. First of all,
kind of genius.
I want to say, I think that is like pure genius to go from those different angles. They eventually decide that she isn't alive because she hasn't used her checking account. I mean, money's important, but at the same time, I mean, you can have cash.
Right.
Is that the only reason to decide that?
I would want to know how much was in the checking account, though, because if there's like several $1,000s in that checking account and it hasn't really been moved, like, okay, but if there's like
if it's my checking account and it has $7, that's a problem.
Exactly. Well, I could see how you could just like leave that behind, though, right? Like, and like, you know, go. Like, you know, so start using cash, like change your name, open a different checking account, a different name.
So that if I go missing, cops actually think that I'm really missing because I need that checking account money.
So with all of this, they start looking into the messages that are being sent to Liz because they think it's weird that she should be getting messages from Cari because seemingly they didn't know each other, right? So why is this happening in the first place? Right? Mm-hmm. Except for that one chance at the beginning of the episode where they walked by each other, that the very, very brief moment where they walked by each other in the hall outside of Dave's apartment. Dave is their only connection, and they were both only casually dating. Casually dating, right? Which apparently both parties agreed to. They both said that it was fine, which, you know, isn't usually the case. One person has more feelings than the other, no matter what. And Cari had only been seeing him for a few weeks. Around the same time, Liz actually goes to the authorities saying that Amy, the baby mama, is harassing her and that she thinks that it's been her all of these years sending those messages.
Wait. Hold on. But so does she have like reason to believe it's not Cari, like in any way, shape, or form? Besides the fact that she's like, no one's seen her, right? I
don't know, because I mean, looking into it from what has been talked about so far, no one has seen her. There's been no activity money-wise based on her checking account. Her car is still there. It's not like she up and left with her car. She's just texting wild stuff. She's not responding. She's not showing up to these things. I don't know.
Okay, continue.
At one point, Liz actually makes a 911 call, right? Makes a 911 call saying that she had been shot in the leg and that she thinks it was Amy. So not only is she saying that she thinks that Amy's been doing this, now she makes this call and is saying she thinks that it was Amy. The detectives start working with Liz, and they start digging into the digital evidence that they get when they ask to download the info and messages and stuff from Liz's phone. Looking into this and talking about this, instantly I'm like, I know that everyone's, like, Carrie's in the background, and then it should be the forefront, but Carrie's on mind, right? But why are you all of a sudden so into this and doing what you need to do on this part, yet you didn't do it before? Yeah. Is I guess what I'm point I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, a whole woman, her whole house is burned down, and like 2 years pass, right? And then all of a sudden you're interested. Yeah, that's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah. But they do. They ask to download all the info and the messages and stuff from her phone so that they can start doing what they need to do. So during this investigation, they ask Liz if she has any more evidence on Amy. And they told her that if they were going to be able to arrest and convict her, they needed certain information. And she is like, okay, I can get that for you. And she comes back with emails from Amy, where Amy is basically confessing to the murder of Cari.
Crime Over Wine is proud to support Emancipet. Unlike episodes of Crime Over Wine, veterinary care shouldn't be a mystery, which is why Emancipet is making vet care affordable and accessible to everyone. Emancipet is a nonprofit organization that operates an ever-expanding network of low-cost veterinary clinics in neighborhoods across the country, offering discounted and free vaccines, flea and tick treatments, spay and neuter surgeries, and much more. Learn more and support Emancipet's mission at emancipet.org.
So, as Rachel explained, investigators start working pretty closely with Liz, trying to, crack this case. But little does Liz know that since the investigators started up the investigation, late as it was, they suspected Liz. So like I said, they thought it was very weird that Cari would have targeted Liz. I mean, they barely knew each other. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they start looking into this relationship, and they start looking into Liz and start digging through all of the digital evidence. And like we mentioned, this is 2012. There's plenty of digital evidence to find. And they had already actually, pulled the info from her phone, and what's so frustrating is they had done that 2 years ago, and that evidence had just been sitting there, okay? Back in 2013, investigators had actually taken Dave and Liz's phones, and they had brought them to downloaded all the information because all the messages were coming in, and they were like, what is going on? But they finally bring it to an analyst to look through the digital data.
I am raising my hand. I just want to make it very clear for any investigators, any law enforcement, any whoever, like, if you guys need someone to go through the messages, if you guys are too busy doing the real work, I mean, all of it's real work, but if you guys are busy doing other stuff, give me that information. Hire me right now to read these messages and look into this stuff. I'm not even joking. Like, I am all about it. And yes, I will crack the case. I just want to point that out. So
yeah, it does kind of blow my mind, like the time lapse here. Like, that's really one of the things that is truly like getting to me. Is that just like a weird mystery in this case, or are we going to get an explanation to that?
It is honestly, I mean, it is not, it shouldn't be come as a surprise because we've seen it before,
right? Where
shit just sits for whatever reason. Investigators are inundated with other cases, maybe that are higher profile. Things get, lost in a storage room, systems go down, what have you.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it's definitely one of those situations where they just it was just sitting.
Yeah.
But luckily, they finally got it to an analyst who looked through all of the digital data, and they find some very, very incriminating evidence. They find photos of Cari's car. They find 20 to 30 fake email accounts written in Cari's name. And they find a picture that had been previously sent to Dave of a woman tied up in a trunk. And then they confirm that this picture that had been sent to Dave was taken with Liz's phone.
I'm like so to be clear, just to recap here, right? So Cari set Liz's house on fire. That was like a confirmed thing. She definitely did that. Am I right about that?
Hold that thought. I'm gonna Liam you right now. Hold that thought.
Well, that's the implication is that Cari set
correct.
Liz's house on fire.
Right.
So and then Liz says Amy actually killed Cari. And then now we're back to Liz now, who may or may not be involved in some crazy shit.
Correct.
So either Dave has some like really bad taste in women, or one of these three women are in some
or Dave's
real
fucking
deep
crazy.
shit.
That is a really good summary of what's been happening so far.
Well, because I feel like this one's so fucking wild,
it is
right?
wild.
Though, right? Like I'm like, I'm like as long as I'm like understanding how things are playing out at the current moment.
Right, you are. Cool. And also remember too, like you are remembering this correctly, because like also like Liz supposedly was shot by Amy. So like what is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on? So detectives also look into that too, and they thought it was definitely suspect, because the day before Liz is shot, supposedly by Amy, she told the cops that Dave's gun was missing. And when she tried to say it was Amy who did it, the cops look into it, and Amy has a solid alibi for the time of the shooting. Oh. Okay? And when they were, quote unquote, working with Liz, and they asked, can we get your phone? We need to get the information from it so that we can put together a case against Amy, who supposedly shot you. They find, like I said, all of those fake email accounts and stuff that they kind of already knew. They knew that there was the fake email accounts. But then they find an app on Liz's phone that lets you schedule when messages are going to be sent.
I forgot about the part.
Okay.
Is it starting to come together?
Yes.
Okay. And you remember when they told Liz, hey, we need more information if we're going to arrest Amy for killing Cari and shooting you and doing all this crazy stuff. They were kind of setting her up. So like they told her, hey, look, we believe you and we want to arrest Amy, for Cari's murder, but we need X, Y, and Z. And then when Liz comes back, she has the exact info that they're asking for in these alleged emails that she had gotten from Amy. And on top of that, these emails include really, really specific details that only the killer would know.
Okay.
So it's all starting to lead towards Liz. And so what they do is they actually find other evidence implicating Liz in Cari's murder. So remember, they had found Cari's car in Dave's apartment complex, right? Right? It was 3 years ago, and they had it, investigated, but apparently they did not investigate it very well, because when they go back and recheck out the car again in 2015, they find blood stains.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
I know.
Come on now.
I know.
These people
this
didn't
investigation
do
was horrible.
Yeah.
And if you remember, they did find a fingerprint at the time, but they said they didn't have anyone to match it to. But now they're able to match that fingerprint to Liz, which furiates me. This furiates me because, at this point they know that, they know that obviously this is centered around Dave. They know that the car was found in Dave's apartment complex. So what do? Yes, you take Dave's fingerprints, but you also fingerprint the people who are in and around his life, which at the time would have included Liz. So why they said we can't find a match is so frustrating to me, because it could have all been solved back in January of 2013.
So can you remind me, at what point in this timeline are we talking about with this car?
So the car was found in January of 2013. Okay, which is about
early.
like 2-3 months. Right, yeah. November is when the last time anyone saw Cari alive, right? And we know that it's still in time enough where like Liz and Dave had been together, right? Even if they had been casual and broken things off, he had seen her in the time that he was seeing Cari. So it to me it shouts just like lazy investigation.
Oh yeah, big time. Oh my God, yeah, big time.
Yeah. So they have the bloodstains, they have the fingerprints that's matched to Liz, and then they also search Liz's one of Liz's tablets, which I remember correctly had been like in a storage unit or something like that, and they find deleted images of Cari's decomposing body. Yeah. So now they have what they need. They arrest Liz. And she actually ends up pushing for a bench trial, which for those of you who don't know, this is when you don't ask for a jury. You ask for, it's just a judge kind of reviewing everything and not a jury.
Oh, well, Liz is kind of fucking stupid, if we're being honest.
I was going to say, is that based on the bench trial or is that based on every other thing?
Yeah.
Well, true.
Well, and then they, for whatever, not only Liz is Liz stupid, but her lawyer must not be that smart either, because they think it's all circumstantial evidence. They think that Liz's fingerprint in Cari's car with blood stains is just circumstantial. They think that finding pictures on Liz's tablet of Cari's body is circumstantial. It's like, okay. I mean, yes, it's true. They do not have a body at this point. Okay. And we know, from our previous experiences in true crime, sometimes when there's no body, it is a lot harder, right?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. But that evidence is screaming out loud what has been happening. And Liz Goliar is convicted of first-degree murder and second-degree arson.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Because if you remember correctly, her house was set on fire. And it could not have been Cari because she had already killed Cari.
This bitch set her own house on fire.
Oh, shit. Oh, because so Cari went missing in November of 2012.
Right.
Wait, also, can we rewind a little bit here? So nobody is really looking for Cari though, all at the same time.
Right.
That's kind of concerning to me.
Right. It's so concerning.
No,
no one is looking for her because, and I mean, I don't want to hinge it all on the fact that police were like, oh, she has a diagnosis of bipolar disorder.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hinge it all on that fact, but I mean,
it's a contributing factor.
Definitely for sure. And cops are just like, oh no, you're getting messages from her. So she can't possibly be missing.
Oh, fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. Man, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. So she is convicted and she's sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, finally in 2017. And remember, Cari went missing in November of 2012. So 5 years later. So
man, she
had stabbed Cari to death in her own car. Okay. Hence why there was blood in Cari's car. Hence why Liz's fingerprints are there. And then over the next 3 years, they calculated that she sent 15,000 emails and up to 50,000 text messages.
My God.
Posing as Cari to,
that's crazy,
A, cover up the crime that she committed. And, I mean, if you think about it, to also get closer to Dave. Right? Everything was kind of centered around Dave. And Rachel said it. This woman was she was committed. I mean, you got to give her that much. Because besides all those emails and texts, which they said ended up being 40 to 50 hours a week. So, her full-time job has been sending these emails and text messages. But she burned down her own house.
God.
Which luckily her kids were not harmed, but there were several pets which bitch were harmed when her house was burned down. And then remember, she shot herself in the leg.
Oh, yeah. Man, what? For Dave?
I mean, and for Dave. I mean, come on.
Dave, who are you?
We've talked about
who
this
are
before.
you, Dave?
I can't remember in what context, but like, it can't be that good, Liz. It cannot be. And nothing is so good as to shoot yourself in the leg.
Wait, so did they ever find Cari's body, though?
They didn't. Unfortunately.
Oh, my God.
They didn't. Because Liz and her lawyer were like, hey, this is all circumstantial. She didn't try to make a plea deal or anything. So, unfortunately, no. They never found Cari's body.
So were the pictures like of her like in her car? Is that what I'm gathering?
Yes.
Like
yes. So they had a picture. They had a picture of that had been taken on Liz's phone of what they saw first as a just like a woman in the trunk of the car, and then they also did find pictures later of like Cari's body like being kind of in a decomposition state, like kind of later on, so you assume that like she
went back.
Yeah, it kind of took a while for her to like find a place for the body or something like that. So
oh gosh.
Yeah, but it's definitely one of those cases that is, I mean, other than the fact that it's absolutely crazy, you know, it's not you know, more often than not, those convictions can't come through without a body, but they were able to do it in this case. Thank goodness, because they had those pictures. And if I remember right, they were able to confirm that it was Cari based on like a tattoo that was in the picture. So, you know, they knew for sure that it was her.
So get tattoos, folks. That's the moral of the story here, I think.
Yeah.
Probably.
In 2020, the Cari Farver Memorial Scholarship was established to keep Cari's memory and her legacy of kindness alive by supporting students attending Iowa Western Community College in pursuit of a career in information technology. The scholarship page says this: Cari Farver was a vibrant, talented, and caring person. Her friends and family remember her courageous spirit and love of life fondly. Although Cari's life ended abruptly, her indomitable spirit lives on in the hearts and minds of those who knew her best. And now, Cari's passion for helping others is celebrated in the form of a scholarship fund at the Community Foundation for Western Iowa. Each year, the scholarship will benefit an information technology student studying at Iowa Western Community College.
I do love that.
I'm very happy that they do that.
So it's like such a, you know, like that, but that's, I mean, we talk about it a lot on like Mother Like Murder, where people are able to take these incredibly tragic and horrible situations and then just really try to, you know,
do something good. Yeah, and I mean, and everyone who listens to Crime Over Wine will know that we talk about that, you know, so much, you know, about, you know, taking these cases that are, you know, entertaining and wild and like twists and turns and all that stuff, but like actually doing something good with them, right? And like, you know, and you know, sharing them not because they're crazy and not because they're interesting and not because they're entertaining, but because they are, you know, they will hopefully, you know, prevent someone from falling into the same line, right? Like, and I mean, that just like, and that's what I really think about, like when I think about like you know, like starting a scholarship in the name of somebody who was like tragically murdered. It's like, it's really all about like getting their names back out there, like, you know, like trying to, you know, grow somebody else up to fill the void that's gone now that Cari's gone, right? I mean, man.
Yeah.
So, and I also think about because we were talking about at the beginning of this episode, right? About like Cari had a child, right? Multiple children or just one child?
It was one. Max.
Just one.
He was a teenager when his mother went missing, and you know, I can't even imagine the just the absolute, I mean, it's hard enough being a teenager.
Yeah.
And then when your mother goes missing under these types of really mysterious circumstances, and then I have to believe that he, like, because, I mean, like we said, he was already kind of suspicious. Like, this seems so weird that he was suspicious enough to, like, test whoever was on the other end of those messages. Like, if you're really my mom, you would know the answer to this. So I would, oh my gosh, I would really hope that he believed in his heart of hearts that, like, my mom wouldn't just up and leave. Like, something happened to her.
Well, and wouldn't set someone's house on fire.
Yeah,
either, too, right? Like, Liz, like, accused her of doing all this crazy crap after murdering her.
And if I remember correctly, I think I read somewhere that he did follow in his mom's footsteps, and he kind of continued on in information technology and kind of like that IT world. And like you said, just kind of, you know, not that you can ever fill a void that of a life that was taken too soon, but that he can do something that his mother, you know, would definitely be proud of.
Yeah. In her memory. Yeah. And that's really all that matters, right? I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like, you know, regardless of how horrific a situation is, it's all about how you grow from it. It's all about what you do after every bad thing that's ever happened to you.
Exactly.
Man, and they still haven't found Carrie's body.
I know. That part really hurts my heart.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I remember reading is, like, you know how I said when when they were like, oh, we need more information from quote unquote Amy, and she came back with really specific details. You know, they did have details about like in the emails that were quote unquote from Amy, there were some details about how, you know, the body had been kind of disposed of in dumpsters, like around the, you know, so unfortunately I don't think that at this point.
Oh, wow.
I know. Frustrating.
That's horrible.
Yeah, for sure.
So wait, so Dave, though, so again, just to recap this whole thing about this whole weird love square, right? Like, so Dave originally was with Cari. Originally was with Amy.
Amy was his baby mama, right? And then him and her split. He decided to try the world of online dating. He actually did meet Liz first.
Okay.
Was casually dating her, and then met Cari and started casually dating her. Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
And then decided, fuck this, and like up and just like left the whole situation. Was like, I'm not dealing with it.
Well, but he eventually, like, Cari disappeared and was sending him all those messages and stuff, and was with Liz at that time, though, if I remember correctly, right?
Correct. He was still seeing Liz when they were both receiving quote unquote, you know, allegedly Cari messages. Yeah.
Man.
I know.
Man, oh man. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't even, like, we could probably be dicing this all night long. Let's not do that, to be crystal clear, because we definitely could, and I don't want to be here all night, as much as crazy as this case is. So I will just say that I am so glad that I had you both do this, because this was such a rewarding experience in terms of like hearing this whole thing. Wild case. Thank you both so much for coming on and talking about this. For a variety of reasons. First of all, for my own personal benefit, but also more importantly than anything else, of just like sharing, you know, Cari's story, because that's important. Sure. So thank you both for coming back on and sharing that with the Crime Vineyard, because we all are a lot better for what you guys just talked about. Yeah,
I think that, you know, sharing Cari's story for her and for her family and for everyone who knew her is so very important. Right. And it needs to be out there, because it was something that, who knows what, to me, it wasn't taken seriously in the beginning. Sure. And maybe things, I mean, obviously things couldn't have been different, like done differently. Like, it should have been done differently.
Right. The investigation. Right.
But it wasn't,
for sure.
Right? But the fact that, so maybe we couldn't have had a different outcome with this, but we didn't have to wait so many years for those people that were wanting answers and needing that, you know, closure in that
so true.
kind of thing, you know. So that hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts.
It delayed moving on for a very long time. Right.
Exactly. But we're so happy to be here with you. And I mean, I know you love when you have us. But we love being here.
Obvious?
We love being here.
Gosh.
Yes. We thoroughly enjoy it 100%. And we are so happy to be a part of,
of the Crime Vineyard.
It is the best. The Crime Vineyard. Yes.
Well, tell everyone, the new members of the Crime Vineyard, tell everyone where they can find you and your work online.
So, like you had mentioned before, when you first heard from us, we were Wine Time. We are now Like Mother Like Murder. You can find us at Like Mother Like Murder anywhere you get your podcasts. We are Like Mother Like Murder on TikTok and on Facebook. We have a Facebook group. We are on Instagram, Like Mother Like Murder, but there's all of those underscores. So like underscore, like mother underscore, like murder underscore, all of the stuff.
Right.
So,
well, we will tag you guys in all of the posts that we're going to talk about for this episode. So go look on Instagram and to save you guys some time. Well, it's such a pleasure always talking to you guys at any given moment, especially on this podcast. So thank you both so much again for coming on, and thank you all so much for listening. We are going to put all of our sources on our website so you can read everything for yourself and probably come up with a few theories too. And if you are just loving this podcast and are just looking for a way to tell everyone and anyone about it, the best way to help people discover this podcast is by leaving us a 5-star rating and a review wherever you are listening right now. So enjoy your Thanksgiving and your holiday season, but make sure you are following us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also following Like Mother Like Murder on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you're wondering what we have in store for you next week, here's a quick sneak peek. Hello, everybody. It's Liam.
And I'm Travis Cummings. Next week, I am stepping into the Crime Vineyard, and we're talking about an infamous case that shook college campuses across the country. We'll tell you what happened to Samantha Josephson.
We sure will, but you will have to wait until next Wine Wednesday for that story on another episode of Crime Over Wine.
Proud member of the Podnuga Network.